Hello everyone, this is Mumbo here, welcome back, and today we are back on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 32 and we are currently over here by the Mumbo Jumbo, ready to start recording another video. And here we are, down at the bottom of the base. If you missed the previous episode of Hermitcraft, you're probably wondering what on earth is going on, and I have to say, you did miss a bit of a treat, because I really liked that episode. I fought my first wither, which didn't necessarily go so well. I died relatively quickly, so Exuma had to step in and help me out on that one, but we got it killed, and that means that we have got ourselves a beacon in the base, which is pretty nice. And then of course we cleared out this entire area, ready to make way for the new base area that we're going to be creating. Now, I spoke about some ideas of what I'm going to be doing with this place in that episode, so I'm not going to go over those ones again, but essentially, it is very, very exciting. I am super excited to start placing down some blocks, start getting this place looking shipshape, and that is what we are going to be doing today. We are going to be doing the decorating and starting off some of the building, so I'm going to gather up some ideas, and then I'll catch you guys in a little bit. So the first thing that we're going to be doing in today's video is we're going to be replacing all of the blocks going around the edge of the big frisbee. I don't really have a proper name for this thing, so I would say big frisbee is definitely the best one that comes to mind. But yeah, we're going to be replacing all of these blocks. Originally, I was going to replace them using iron blocks, maybe stone slabs or other such things. But you know what? I think I'm going to be going for snow, going right the way down to the bottom so that it looks like a solid disc of snow. I'd say that will look fairly good. But before we crack on with that, I just want to say, you may have noticed recently I've been having some frame rate issues in my episodes. They've been a little bit messy and a little bit laggy, but hopefully I have fixed that now because I'm currently rendering out a video, but I am playing Minecraft using Optifine, and it seems to be smoother than when I'm not rendering out a video. Now, rendering out videos takes up a lot of your RAM. It takes up about 80%, and if it's running this smoothly right now, I'm sure we will be fine in the future. But anyway, I'm going to start placing down the snow blocks, and we'll see how all of this works. You know what? I have been doing this for a very long time now, and it never seems to get boring. Seeing all of those particles exploding, snowballs going everywhere, it's my idea of fun. Does that make me boring? I think it does. Okay, so all of the dirt has been removed and all of the snow blocks have been put in place, and it is all looking extremely good, but some of you may notice we have had just a little bit of a change of plan, and I know that's going to stress some of you out. You're already heading down to the comment section to prepare your hateful comments, but do not worry, okay, bear with me on this one, because I have had just a little bit of a change of plan, and I think it's going to be for the better, okay? I've had a new idea of how I am going to be doing this bottom area down at the bottom, and that required this little lip, this little thing going right the way around the bottom to be there. And you know what? Even though it's not particularly pretty in its current form, I would say it's not too bad. It transitions quite nicely from the snow blocks into the iron blocks, which is good. I was puzzling through my head to work out how to do that, and I feel like this is a pretty good solution. And also, it meant that I could use scaffolding without actually having to take it down at the end, which is always a positive, so that meant that that job didn't actually take that long. But anyway, I am going to stop talking about what I've done, and I'm going to stop talking about my future idea, because I don't want to spoil this future idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start building it, I'll see how it looks, and I'll give you the feedback. Well guys, tell me I'm wrong on this one, but that really does look like a palace, okay? I don't know if this is just my eyes playing tricks on me, but this fully looks regal, doesn't it? It looks like something the Queen would have. I mean, you know, it's quite different from a lot of the things that the Queen has. Usually she sticks to the old buildings, not the big ice palaces with giant mob farms on the top. But if she was to own something like that, then I would say it would look something like this downstairs area. I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. All I'm trying to say here is I am actually quite happy with how this has all turned out. The colours all work well together very nicely. You know, we've got the grey, we have the compressed ice, we have the white stained glass. I love using white stained glass. I would actually say that it's better than regular glass. It's a much nicer texture, so I'll probably be sticking with that one. And then, of course, the replication on the other side, the mirroring. It all comes together very nicely. I'm pretty happy with this. And that means that we are going to be doing that right the way around the bottom of the build. So we're going to go right the way around, all the way around here, on this side as well, on that side as well, and that will give us a nice large central area in which we can start working on the stuff that's going to be on the inside here. But one thing that I will say is this central area is a lot larger than I was expecting it to be. I don't know why, but there is plenty of room for activities here. Support structure number 2 has been completed. It is all down at the bottom, and I'm still feeling pretty good about these. We have got half of the build done. Of course, as you may notice, I've cut it a little bit fine, okay? We are right next to the beacon here. That means that we may need to move the beacon at some point, but we're not going to be doing that at the minute because it provides a nice little way to get out of this bottom area so that we can get up top. And you know what? I've just decided I want to take a look at this from outside. I want to see how much we can see. Of course, we have a little bit of overhang, which means we might not be able to see much of the design, but you know what? Actually, it doesn't look too bad. You can see quite a lot of the compressed ice. You can see something is going on down there, and that, I suppose, is the most important thing. Once we get the walkway in, going around the way like this, then it will look really very good. At least that's the idea, okay? All of this is off the top of my head. I haven't planned any of this out in a testing world or anything like that. I'm building as it comes, and that often is actually quite a fun way to play Minecraft. But anyway, I'm going to put the other half in, and we'll see what it all looks like once it's fully completed. And there we have it. All of them are now in. We have got white stained glass all over the place. We have got iron everywhere. Compressed ice is going everywhere as well. And speaking of going everywhere, don't know if you just heard that, but Benji just completely stacked it off the top of my chair. So I guess Benji's going all over the place as well. But I have to say, I am very happy with how this has all turned out. And I know that I've said that multiple times, but considering it's off the top of my head, and my head isn't particularly brilliant on the whole building side of things, I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, it's looking good. It goes right the way around like this. We've got plenty of space in the middle. We have a nice walkway area. And speaking of the walkway area, I think this needs a little bit more decoration, doesn't it? Because let's look. Okay, we got coal, we got torches, we got holes all over the place. I mean, this just won't do. So I think we're going to have to fill this in. And you know what? Because we haven't done one yet in today's episode, it's time-lapse in time. So during this time-lapse, we're going to be doing one of those little time-lapse chat things because you guys really enjoyed it in the previous episode of Hermitcraft. But this time I've done something a little bit different. I've actually asked Twitter for a few questions so that I can answer them during the time-lapse chat. But from now on, I might actually head down to the comments and get the questions from you lot. So if you do want to ask a question that you might want answered in the next episode of Hermitcraft, head down to the comments section and let me know on that one. But the first question that we've got today is, why do you use an iPhone 5S instead of an Android phone? Now, for some reason, I was actually expecting this question because I know quite a lot of you feel very passionately about this sort of stuff, and I knew that at least someone would bring it up, so I thought I would address it in this video. So the first thing that I want to say is I have owned plenty of Android phones in the past, and I actually really like them. In fact, I really like Android Lollipop as an operating system. But here's the thing, there are 4 things I look for when buying a phone. I want it to have a half decent screen, I want it to be relatively small so that I can use it comfortably in one hand, I want to have a good build quality, preferably made out of metal, and I want it to have a pretty good camera. Now, I would say currently the iPhone 5S is pretty much the only phone on the market right now that seems to satisfy all of those checkboxes. If Android brought out a phone that satisfied all of those checkboxes, I'll probably look into that one and I'll probably look into buying it. But currently the iPhone 5S seemed like the perfect fit for me, and that is why I made that purchase. It's not brand loyalty, it's not being a fanboy, it's just because I thought, hey, that looks like a decent phone, that looks like something that I'd like to use, so there we go, I purchased it. The next question is, what do you plan on doing after YouTube and Minecraft is finished? And the answer to that is actually quite exciting because I've just been offered a place at Nottingham University to study computer science. So I would guess that I will be going into some form of computer science once all of that is done. But yes, I've got a university placement. That's very exciting indeed. And the most exciting thing is that I'll be starting in 2016. I am taking a gap year, and you know what that means? I'm going to be going full-time YouTube for 1 year. Everyone wave your hands in the air because that means that you're going to be getting frequent videos, you're going to be getting all sorts of stuff coming out the Mumbo Jumbo YouTube channel, so that is going to be absolutely amazing. But anyway, that ends today's time-lapse chat. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Now back on to some Hermitcraft action. So as you saw in that time-lapse right there, we used sandstone slabs and also stone half slabs to create the walkway area. And you know what? Even though it's a completely new type of block, we haven't used it at all in this build just yet, I'd say it fits in pretty nicely. It really does work well with the other colours. It actually adds a nice bit of warmth to an otherwise extremely cold build. Like, this is the definition of a cold build. We've got all the whites, the greys and the blues. It's feeling pretty chilly over here, so it's nice to have a little bit of desert going on down at the bottom, which surprisingly, it actually does. It works out quite well. It complements the two. And yeah, I'm talking building terms here that I personally don't fully understand. As I say, building isn't really my forte, but I'm just trying my best, okay? But anyway, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on the inside area, because it's all well and good having the outside looking this good, but if it all looks like this on the inside, there's absolutely no good in that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replicating what we have going on the outside on the inside. So the compressed ice is going to come around like this, and then we're going to have these stone half slabs on the outside. It should look just as good as it does on the outside. If it doesn't, I'll be a little bit surprised, so I'm going to crack on with that, and then I'll catch you guys in a little bit. So the first one of these is now in place, and it looks exactly as I expected. Seriously, it's exactly the same as the image that I had in my head, which is good. That means that we're going to be doing it for this one, and this one as well, to give it the full circular look. But before we do anything like that, I'm going to say one word. Roof. I have no idea what we are going to be doing with the roof section. Obviously, we can't leave it as it is right now because it's a bit of a mess, but we only have a couple of blocks to work with here. In fact, we've got no blocks to work with. That is the floor level of the bowl. We can't take out any of those blocks, so we have got this space to work with, and that is very, very worrying. I'm a little bit worried now that we're going to do all of this stuff and we aren't going to be able to build a nice roof section. Yeah, needless to say, I'm a little bit scared. I'll try my best to come up with some ideas while I'm doing this building, but if we don't get that done in today's episode, I might need your help. Good news, everyone. The outskirts are done. They are all in place, but roof was a problem, but now it shouldn't be. I think I've come up with an idea of how I'm going to do it. It should look relatively cool. I'm debating with the idea of telling you right now. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. What I'm going to do is I'll have a ring of sandstone slabs going around like that, and then I'll have another ring of stone half slabs. Then we'll have a ring of sea lanterns, which of course will be slightly indented, so they'll drop down a little bit further. And then in the middle, I'm debating the idea of having either compressed ice or snow or even nether quartz, if we can get that much of it. But essentially, it'll be like a big white central ring in the middle, like a big circle right in the middle here. It'll be a really cool centerpiece, and I really do hope that that looks good. But as far as the floor section is concerned, we need to stop looking upwards because we haven't done the bottom just yet. What we need to do is we're going to create walkways coming in through each one of these entrances. And also, I do have to fix out all of this iron as well. That goes on right the way around the top of the build. There's plenty of things still left to do. But the first thing that we're going to be doing, we are going to be doing the walkway. So they are going to come in like this, and they are going to be meeting up in the middle. This is the central block. And then, of course, down here, this area is going to be dug right the way down to make way for the storage silos. There's so many plans, so many projects, but let's do the walkways. Desert has been suitably cleared, but if we take a look in my inventory here, we have got ourselves a ton of sandstone. That definitely is far too much for today's episode, but it means we're pretty future-proofed. We should have plenty of sandstone for the future and for future builds. So anyway, I'm going to head back over to the Mumbo Jumbo and we'll start constructing. We now have a crossroads. It all meets in the center, and this is okay. This is really, really cool. We have got all of the entrances running in here, and as I mentioned in the previous episode, what we'll have on this central block is we will have a chest, and that is where we can put all of our most used items. So that can be like cobblestone, iron blocks. We could throw in some dirt as well, and then they will be sorted out into various large storage silos. So now what we have to do is we're going to be clearing out all of this area. So we have to take out all of this right the way around the walkways, take out all of this just a little bit further down because we're going to be making space for the things that are going to be going in these sections. What I've decided to do is up to around about here, of course we're going to have the circle there, but up to around about here we are going to be having wheat farms that go right the way around. Should be a nice little decorative element. We're not actually going to be getting any wheat from this. They are literally just there for decoration, which is a little bit different, but I think it could work out quite nicely. About 45% of the build is now in place. The 5% accounts for the wheat that we still need to place down, but already feeling pretty positive about this, and it mainly consists of dirt. So if I'm feeling positive about a build that mainly consists of dirt, then that means that it must be going pretty nicely. I really like the way all of these circles are working together, because we have the circles out here, and then we have the circles in the middle here. Circles aren't really something that I've used particularly often in Minecraft. Obviously, Hermitcraft Series 2, I did have a big circular section, but other than that, I didn't really use many other ones, so I'm glad that I am getting into that side of things, because they look cool. It looks sort of unnatural, because, you know, Minecraft is meant to be squares and things, but they definitely do look good, and they work very nicely together. So what I've got to do is, of course, I've got to gather up all of the wheat, and we'll place all of that in there, and also, I've got to do these two sides as well. It's taken a very long time to do all of this stuff, it really is, but I am enjoying myself, and hopefully, by the end of it, we should have ourselves a very nice looking base area. All of the blocks for the build are now in. We are just working on putting in the wheat now, and then we should have a fully finished floor area. So we need to pick up the water buckets, and we need to transport those across, because that's one thing that I hadn't actually thought of, is the fact that obviously wheat needs to be hydrated, and that requires a little bit of water. So that can go in each one of those holes, and of course, because, you know, I'm pedantic about these sorts of things, our water holes are completely symmetrical. I'm trying my best to make sure that everything in this build is entirely symmetrical, but currently, I'm feeling pretty positive about it. With this side already done, I can already feel this is going to look good. When the wheat is fully grown, gone all that golden colour, it will look really very good. So let's head over to here as well. Chuck in the water once again. That one in there, that one in there. I am going to need to bring some more hose along though, because, you know, we are running low. We've only got the stone hose here. We don't have any diamond hose in this area just yet. But that might be something that I do in the future, because clearly these things run out extremely quickly. It has been done. All of the wheat is now in. You can probably tell which order that I did it in. Most of the wheat is grown in this section. Then we have a little bit of wheat grown over here. Very little wheat grown over here. And these are the ones that I literally just placed down. So they're all done. It's done. The floor level is done, and I am feeling so very happy about that. Of course, we still have this central section to do, but that is going to be the downstairs area with the silos and things like I've explained many millions of times now. So basically, the floor area is done. Let's take a look at it from outside here. Obviously, we do still need to move this beacon. This isn't going to be a permanent feature, but, well, you can't really see any of the wheat farms from this angle, but it does look cool. It really does look very, very cool. I'm happy with this. So now we have to move on to the roof. This has been the elephant in the room for a very long time now. It's super ugly. I discussed earlier on that I didn't really have any plans. Then I came up with some plans, and now we are going to be building those plans. But I'm not going to be doing it on camera. We are going to be doing a third-person time-lapse once again. Not going to be a time-lapse chat this time. We are going to do good old-fashioned music. So let's crack on with that one.
What I do, what I do, da da do, da da do. What I do, what I do, da da do, da da do. What I do, what I do, da da do, da da do.
So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The roof area is now all done, and I don't really know about it, to be quite frankly honest with you. It's not quite as good as it was in my head, and that is mostly because these sandstone blocks, I forget every single time that I go to use them in a ceiling that the underside of them is really very ugly. It's proper ugly, okay? It's not something that I want to see, and that's very, very frustrating. Now, I am considering turning them into birch wood, so I'll just replace all of these blocks with birch, but obviously that takes a very long time. What I thought I'd do is I thought I'd push on through it and see how it looks in the end. It looks alright, okay? It's a lot better than it was beforehand, but that might be something that we change in the future. As far as the central area is concerned, I'm also in two minds about the use of the snow, but you know what? I'm going to ignore that just because it looks okay. It's a lot better than it was beforehand, and that's the main thing. And this whole room has actually come together very nicely. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a cool central base area. Considering this all off the top of my head, I feel like I've done a half-decent job. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.